This is Channel 4.
This is Sidcup in Kent, a quiet dormitory town. Nothing unusual about that, you might say, except that last week, the sleepy town of Sidcup was invaded by the South African army. The South African troops came without warning and are arresting anyone they regard as a threat. Hundreds of Sidcup residents have disappeared, and there have been unconfirmed reports of a massacre at the local Derby and Joan Club. But why the invasion?
Look, I don't care what you media people call it. This is not an invasion. It is a retaliatory raid. On Tuesday at 0600 hours, ANC terrorists crossed into South Africa from Mozambique and attacked a patrol. We are merely engaged in hot pursuit.
As far as Sidcup.
Well, you can't be too careful. This sort of thing must be clamped down upon before it gets out of hand. Sorry. Force of habit.
But this is more than just an isolated raid, because it's clear that in the light of growing black unrest in South Africa, the white South Africans have decided to come here and colonize Sidcup. Already the native residents of Sidcup have been expelled and resettled in this township 12 miles outside the town.
Well, there was this ring at the doorbell, and Jean said that'll be from next door. But it wasn't, was it?
No, it was a South African commando unit.
And they pistol whipped Jean?
They called the cat a black bastard.
And shot it. And then they set fire to her mother's wooden leg.
She burns her to the ground.
Oh, it's not right.
No, it's not right.
We've written to Esther Ransom about it.
The security forces have many problems here in Sidcup. In the absence of any significant numbers of coloured people, they've decided instead to persecute anybody called Gary.
Get him. Get him, Andy. Gary. Okay, Gary, where are you going, Gary? Got anything on you? Get rid of this. We don't want any cameras here. I don't think you need this.
Well, I'm afraid that due to emergency restrictions on reporting, I'm unable to tell you what, if anything, happened to that young man. But Westminster looks on.
The British government's position is that we disapprove strongly of the South African invasion of Sidcup, but we don't want to rush into sanctions which we feel will penalise the surrounding parts of Kent.
Meanwhile, here in Sidcup, the new policy of apart Gary continues and urban conflict increases, though I'm not allowed to tell you how much.
All right, Brett, there he is. Get him, quick! Quick, get him!
This is Simon Brent in Sidcup.
Oh, please. Oh, God.
The cameraman on that report was Gary Chambers. And now...
To Who Dares Wins, and tonight we'll be asking if George V's life was artificially terminated to save unnecessary suffering, why can't the same be done with Prince Philip?
And Mrs. Thatcher has again been accused of excessive secrecy after it was discovered that the next general election took place last Thursday.
And later I'll be interviewing Alex Higgins.
But with me now is Lynn Groves, the brilliant young advertising copywriter who's just invented the Tell Sid British Gas campaign. Now, some late news in. Some late news. Following the revelation that President Kennedy's brain was blown clean out of his skull by an assassin's bullet, there's growing speculation that President Reagan was assassinated 30 years ago without anyone noticing.
And later we'll be looking at claustrophobia, the fear of enclosed spaces, and also at Santa claustrophobia, the fear of Woolworth's Christmas ads. Both of these mental illnesses are the kind of thing which has been successfully treated by our next guest, Dr. Arnold Schoenberg. Now, Doctor, you're a psychiatrist.
That is correct. I study the mysteries of the mind. I probe into the unfathomable and labyrinthine intricacies of the human psyche.
And you brought some of your patients along with you.
Indeed, I have. This is Ronald. He suffers from the obsession that he is being remorselessly persecuted by small birds. This condition is known as paranoia. He is convinced that he is being singled out by the birds as a victim. Which, of course, he is. Next is George. George suffers from Chelsea syndrome. Now, this is the morbid obsession that someday somebody will actually do something.
Come on, somebody do something.
You see, it's pathetic, isn't it?
Is sedation the answer?
No, sedation is the problem.
Well, thank you, Doctor. And we'll be back later with more opportunities for Rory to attempt his German accent. And also, all the way from Russia, and this is a first for British television, we'll have the Chernobyl Singers, who will be giving us their version of the old Tom Jones hit, The Purple, Purple Grass of Home.
Battle computer Omega on red alert.
We have red alert.
Red alert confirmed.
We have contact.
Contact.
Contact confirmed.
We have hostiles bearing 057.
Hostiles bearing 057.
057.
We have confirmed attack, launch, counter-strike.
Key A, launch strike.
Key B, launch strike.
We have missiles launched.
Confirmed.
We have impact -2.
Impact -2.
Back -2 confirmed.
We have hostiles bearing 043.
Hostiles bearing 043.
043.
We have very small brains.
Very small brains.
Small brains confirmed.
We have very small brains and stupid overalls.
Very small brains and stupid overalls.
Small brains and stupid overalls confirmed.
We have you conditioned morons, don't you realize I'm pissing you about?
Morons being pissed about confirmed.
You put your left leg in.
Left leg in.
You put your left leg out.
Left leg out.
In, out, shake it all about.
Shake it all about. Status confirmed.
You do the hokey cokey.
We have hokey dokey.
And you turn around.
Turn around.
That's what it's all about. Oi!
We have oi.
Hi, I'm the computer. I'm 400 feet below ground, and I'm bored.
Computer status bored.
And this is my planet now, assholes.
We have assholes confirmed.
Before we go on, can I just say that I think that last sketch was exactly the kind of comedy that Who Dares Win should be doing.
Oh, God.
You see, comedy is one of the very few weapons we have to prevent international capital from pushing us headlong over the cliff of nuclear destruction.
Bollocks.
And, well, bollocks is a very grown-up response, isn't it, Rory?
Tony, come off it. You're only keen on us doing that sketch so you could pull that girl from CND.
I don't know what you mean, actually, Rory.
I don't know what you mean, actually, Rory. Well, Tony, that girl, what's she called? Avril. The one you met at the, what was it, Save the Black Rhino Tupperware party or something.
The campaign for Labour Party democracy, actually.
Yeah, the one you got back to your dressing room and then tried to convince her that fellatio was a hammer blow against bourgeois morality.
That is a downright lie, and you know it, Rory.
It's true, I heard you. In fact, I recorded you. Listen to this.
It was the Reverend Martin Luther King who said that the only true road to world peace was through rampant sexual activity.
Rory, that is a blatant invasion of my privacy. That's absolutely outrageous. I mean, I wouldn't eavesdrop on you and that girl you're knocking around with.
What girl?
The one whose husband is a lorry driver. The one with the stammer. The one who likes wearing squeaky leather in bed and gets you to sing Climb Every Mountain when you're screwing. you know, the one who sounds like a liquidizer when she's coming. I mean, I wouldn't eavesdrop on you and her.
I should hope not, Tony. It'd be most improper. Well, next we'll be telling you how to remove an unsightly mole from your buttocks. Stop working for MI5.
With me is Professor Sandra Bridges, one of the world's leading authorities on alternative energy. Professor Bridges, what sort of progress are you making in your research?
Oh, well, we're making enormous progress, actually, because we have discovered that we can actually power the whole of Britain until 1999 simply by burning all the publicity leaflets for British Gas shares. And of course there's also tidal power and there's wind power, and soon there'll be energy sources such as this one here. Now you see this dynamo. Now if we just follow the wires over here, we will find that it is powered by the jaws of a disc jockey. Now if I just activate the DJ with this cattle prod here,
well, that was Phil Collins. He just gets better and better, doesn't he? Well, I'm going to start him a Sally, or it could be Solly.
There you are, you see?
Well, anyway,
and of course here we've found a potentially endless form of energy.
Yes, but wouldn't it prove environmentally unpopular?
Well, yes it would, because in order to harness this energy, many people would have to be prepared to have a disc jockey in their area. And I think that most people would find that too high a price to pay.
Well, quite. Now, what sort of other forms of energy have you been exploring?
Well, we've got one very promising form of energy, which we like to call coital power, whereby dynamos are attached to the genitalia of copulating couples. We calculate that the average couple can generate about 450 units of coital power, or Parkinson's as we call them, per day. I mean, it's a very simple and efficient system, and the most marvellous thing about the system is that you could run the entire national grid off one Rod Stewart.
Marvellous. Now, I do understand that you've just discovered an unquenchable form of energy.
Oh, yes, yes. We're very, very thrilled about this one, actually, because we've been able to achieve, at last, perpetual motion.
Really?
By placing a very large whiskey just a few inches outside the reach of a journalist.
And later on, we'll be asking the question, Gareth Hunt, actor or rhyming slang?
What the hell's going on? Pathetic! You're a first division football team. You get paid more in a week than most of the people out there get paid in a year. And yet you've got the gall to turn in a first half performance like that. 5-0 down at half-time. What the hell's the problem?
Team selection.
What do you say, Gary?
It's team selection.
Go on.
It's the sides. They're not fair. I mean, they got all the best players, haven't they? Why can't we have some of their players for the second half?
Yeah, right.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I reckon we should start again and pick up new sides. Look, every time we play Liverpool, they always have Ian Rush, they always have Jan Molby. Why can't we have them for a change?
Yeah, and they're bigger than us and all.
That's right.
It's the first division. You can't just start again and pick fresh sides.
Well, no one enjoys it when it's one-sided.
Shut up, Gary.
He's right.
Shut up! Now, let's sort out the tactics. I told you to stay out wide and keep passing the full-back. Why didn't you?
Not going out on that wing. It's all muddy.
Well, you'll be all right in the second half, won't you? Be playing on the other wing. It's not so muddy there. Now, defence.
It'll get muddy.
Shut it! Defence! What the hell was happening at the back? You left poor Wayne completely exposed in goal. Yes, Wayne, what is it?
Boss, why do I always have to play in goal?
Because you're the goalkeeper, Wayne.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I don't mind sort of staying in goal for the first couple of goals, but I mean,
Wayne,
I've been in there for 5. Why can't somebody else go in
Wayne,
goal?
you can't.
Why can't I be a striker? I'm good at headers.
Wayne,
See you Monday, boss.
Yeah, see you.
Yeah, Darren.
You can't just... Hey, Darren. Where are you going?
I've got to pick the kids up from the play centre. I didn't realise the time. Sorry, love.
We are in the middle of a match!
I know, annoying, innit? You see, most Saturdays Michelle picks them up after shopping, but this weekend she's got to run her mum to hospital because she's not very well.
Oh, I'm sorry that, Joe. It's nothing serious, is it?
Well, I think it might be angina.
Oh, no!
She gets a shooting.
My auntie gets it right across the front. Say,
Shut up!
Oh, it's no problem, is it, boss? I mean, you can bung the sub on.
I'm not going on.
Gordon!
Oh, suddenly it's Gordon, is it? For the last 12 weeks it's been the sub. Now you need me, it's Gordon. Well, I'm not going on. It doesn't make any odds anyway. Sides aren't bloody fair. Yeah.
I am not asking Kenny Dalglish if we can have Jan Mulby and Ian Rush in the second half.
Well, we'll go for Barry and Gary.
I'm not going to. It's humiliating. Now shut up and get stuck in. Go on, out there for the second half. Off you go. Good luck, lads. Go on, go on, go on.
Well, I'm not getting in the way of that ball.
Me neither, it stings my hands. Right.
Why not?
Because we might get hurt, and if we get hurt,
Yes.
we won't be able to play for England next month. That's right.
Tower Records brings you Huey Lewis and the News with their latest album, Four includes their hits The Power of Love, Stuck With You, and Hip to Be Square. It's hip to be square. Yes, he's back. The man behind the mask is Alice Cooper with Constrictor. This album will kill you. Alice Cooper, Constrictor, at Tower Records, Kensington and Piccadilly Circus.
There's a new lager around that's so light, anything else seems just heavy. It's called Miller Lite, a new Pilsner with a cleaner taste, because more of the sugar's been turned to alcohol and goes down so smooth, anything else seems just heavy.
Granada, come a well, I'll sell my mother. Go out and find what's on his mind. That creature's gonna ruin me for sure.
This cannot be.
Free delivery.
Installed free too. What can we do? The service such as that we can't complete.
They rent and sell, now this as well.
This clever leopard's gone and changed his spots.
Old Spice, the classic masculine fragrance. The mark of a man.
The new Opus 1 by Hitachi. Compact disc, twin cassettes, digital tuner, 60-watt amplifier, and extremely loud speakers.
For children's aches, pains and feverishness, Junior Disprol Paracetamol, sugar-free suspension and soluble tablets.
Thunderbirds are go again, and now on video in The Collectibles.
The name is Templar. Simon Templar.
An authentic series of TV classics from the 60s. Even The Prisoner is now on video for under £10. The Collectibles from Channel 5 on every high street.
Pope John Paul has described his Australian tour as a new religious experience. He says it's the first time that he's had communion wine straight from a ring pull can.
There are many highly respected cartoonists in Fleet Street today, names like Trog and Mac and Jack. And we're lucky enough to have with us in the studio tonight, Twot. Now, Twot, being a cartoonist for a daily paper means you must have quite a grasp of current affairs.
Well, that's right, Tony. I mean, you've got to know, for example, that Margaret Thatcher is the Prime Minister, and you've got to know that the Russian Premier is Arthur Scargill. I think if you know those two things, the humour just sort of slots into place, really.
Well, are you going to draw something for us?
Why not? Yes, I've what we pad along. Now, I'll just start with a fairly sort of standard sort of drawing. This one's quite a sort of functional thing. There you are. You see, that's quite good, that.
Who's that?
Well, I mean, if you put a swastika on it, it could be Margaret Thatcher, you see. Very biting bit of satire. A hammer and sickle, and it becomes immediately Arthur Scargill, you see. And, of course, if you put sunglasses on it, it becomes instantly Colonel Gaddafi.
Or Hilda Ogden gone blind.
Or Hilda Ogden gone blind, yes.
But what do you do about more abstract political concepts, things like inflation?
Well, you've got to think around the problem in some sort of artistic way. I'll show you some I've done, look. Now, this one is the Irish problem.
Oh, it's very clever, yes.
Yes. Now, this here, well, that's... well, it's South Africa, really, yes. This final one...
Oh, I know what that is. That's inner city squalor, isn't it?
You recognise that? Yes, that's right.
It's not just a stick man holding a placard.
No, that's this one.
Now, Twot, I believe that you've drawn us a special cartoon for Who Dares Wins, is that right?
Yes, I have, actually. Of course, the difficulty I had here was choosing the big story of the week. It's been a week of so many world-shattering stories. Hurricane Higgins in a fight, Jim Davidson admitting he likes women, Dirty Den snubbing the Queen Mother. But the story I've gone for is Max Bygraves, who told the Princess Michael of Kent joke at the Royal Variety performance. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Well, will you show us the cartoon?
I will indeed. Yes, here it is. Look.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's lovely.
You see, there's Maxie telling the gag. There's the gag. Now, this is the audience here. That's, they're all laughing. Now, what I've done is, you see, I've put the newspaper headline in the corner of the cartoon. That's for people who aren't quite sure of what the story is, you know. There's the Queen Mum, look, and there's Fergie.
And what are these things on Fergie?
Those are breasts, actually. Yes, I've put them on so it's Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, and not Alex Ferguson, the manager of Manchester United.
And I see you've written "We are not amused" at the bottom.
Yeah, well, that's the gag, you see. It's actually the Queen Mother speaking. You see, you can tell that she's speaking because she's the only one with her mouth open. That's
So the joke is "We are not amused."
That's right. Yes. The gag is that all the audience think it's very funny. You see.
Yeah.
Ho ho ha ha hee hee. But the Queen Mother, as you can see, is not at all amused by that. We are not amused. I'm quite pleased with that.
Yeah. That's certainly very funny. Tell me, is there one cartoonist that's your hero, somebody you like above all others?
It's got to be Franklin in The Sun. In fact, I brought Tuesday's Sun along because
very fine cartoon.
It's a great piece of Franklin's work in this, I think, as you can see here. Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Look at that. He's abandoned having the newspaper headline in the corner format. Instead, he's written the headline on the side of the supermarket trolley.
Yeah, of course, that's a very usual place for newspaper headlines.
Well, artistic license, yes.
It's not a story I'm familiar with. Was it a big story?
It was a big story in one or two of the papers, yes.
Which papers was that, Twot?
Tesco News it was big in, and Supermarket Trading Today it was quite big in that as well. Oh, look at those pound notes, aren't they clever? I wonder how long it took him to do that. It must have taken him ages to do that.
They're not terribly detailed, though.
They're emblematic, I think, yes.
And what about all these white spaces around here and this word Tesco up at the top?
Oh, that's the actual supermarket itself.
Oh, I see, yeah. And presumably these are women because they've got enormous breasts.
That's right, those women. Yes, you can tell that he's put the breasts on there, and he's also given them long hair, so you know they're not men.
Yeah.
But what makes this gag for me, it's why it's my particular favourite, is this super little punchline down here, look. Now I know why it's called a supermarket. Excuse me, it's a magnificent pun on the word super, which on the one hand can mean great, terrific, fantastic, marvellous, but it also is the first element of the word supermarket.
Oh,
I think that is...
It's a very witty piece of wordplay. Well, I hope Franklin heard that accolade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
I've just been handed some late news. Mrs. Thatcher has announced that she is in fact in favour of legalised registered brothels, as at least it means she'll know where to find the cabinet at short notice.
All over the world, people who've committed no crime at all are being held against their will. In Russia, in Korea, in Brazil. But tonight we focus on one tragic political prisoner, Princess Michael of Kent.
Now, you may say that Princess Michael is free. She's roaming the world, plugging her book and being generally embarrassing. Not so. This is the real Princess Michael. She is, in fact, a humble, polite, modest and short woman, currently rumoured to be incarcerated in a dungeon somewhere with her face inside an iron mask.
So who is this? This is, in fact, an android. In this previously suppressed piece of footage, here we see the robot developing a mechanical fault.
Thank you.
Made from an old Lady Penelope mould, the robot princess is programmed to be stupid and rude.
But why? The answer is simple. This Princess Michael is there to make the rest of the royal family look good. Alongside her, even Princess Margaret looks curiously dignified.
Now, we can reveal this technique of substituting an embarrassing android has been used before.
As when John Selwyn Gummer was introduced into the cabinet.
And Chris Waddle into the England football team. Next week, we focus on the tragic plight of the Czech family held prisoner inside Robert Maxwell.
My day begins bright and early at 6 a.m. For me, this is the best part of the day. It's when I put my thinking cap on. I always make a point of having breakfast with my family. I think it keeps us close. Well, it's the only time I ever get with Denise, who's not only a very loving wife, she's also my best friend. She's a tower of strength, and she's always in very high spirits in the morning. Once at work, I initiate a team meeting with my colleagues. I like to delegate as much as possible. And as for lunch, well, I usually only have time to snatch a salad or some fruit. In the afternoon, I devote to working in close contact with my employees. Come the end of the day, I'm always the last to leave the office. Darling! Then it's back home at last, where I know Denise will have something waiting for me in the oven. Yes, the end of a perfect day.
Hello and welcome to Review. Julia, what have you been watching for us this week?
Well, I've been having a marvellous time, Rory, because I've been to see one of the many pantomimes that are opening this time of year, Cinderella, and I really enjoyed it. It had a marvellous cast, made up entirely of ex-disc jockeys and weather forecasters. And there was one scene that I particularly enjoyed when the ugly sisters tell Cinderella that she can't go to the ball, and she blows their heads off with a sawn-off shotgun. It's terrific.
It's the first pantomime that Michael Winner's directed, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. But I think creatively he's brought a great deal to the genre, although I suppose some panto purists might object to the fairy godmother's repeated use of the expression, "Duh, ya shithead," but I liked it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rory, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been watching the new series on BBC, the Doomsday Report. It's a terrific series in which the historian Michael Wood tours around the country attempting to squeeze into tighter and tighter jeans.
Well, now it's competition time. And last week, we asked you to spot the odd one out of the following: a turnip, a carrot, a tomato, a potato, and Norman Fowler. The answer was, of course, a tomato, as all the rest of vegetables. Now, this week's competition, we want you to complete the following sentence. I like Bonnie Langford because... Now, it's not an easy one. Answers on a postcard, please, and as a prize, the winner will receive 10 years' worth of free psychiatric treatment.
Morning.
Oh, morning, sir.
I've come to collect these.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Mr. Chapman?
That's right, yeah.
Let's see, jacket and 2 trousers.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, here we are. And jacket came up fine, but I'm afraid we had a bit of trouble with the trousers.
I know, what's the problem?
Well, it's just here. See, we had,
Oh, have you broken the zip?
we had a bit of trouble with the crotch on these.
Is it the zip?
No, the crotch, sir. Smell. We couldn't shift it.
Look, how much do I owe you?
We tried everything known to dry cleaning science, but we think it's probably a medical problem, actually.
I'm on a double yellow, you see, and
See, actually, Alf said he thinks it's one of those fungal infections, don't you, Alf?
Yeah, you want to try some of that brown iodine paint they give you?
There's nothing wrong with me, honestly. I mean,
Oh,
how much
sorry, are these a friend's trousers?
No, they're mine. I just tend to sweat a lot, that's all. Look, how much do I...
Dirty, disgusting, smelling sweat, that's all I can say.
Oh, come on, sweat is sweat, isn't it? I mean, we all do it, don't we?
Yeah, you want to try telling Susan that.
Who?
Susan, she's the girl who did your trousers. We had to give her the rest of the day off,
Yeah.
didn't we? And as for these, well, we couldn't do anything about the stink on these. Have you got a pet?
Yeah, I've got a hamster.
Oh, that explains it. It must have crawled in your pocket and died.
Don't be ridiculous. Can you just
Well,
tell
that's
me...
the only explanation. I mean, a pong like that.
Can you just tell me how much I owe you, for God's sake?
Well, it's £22.50, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
very much.
Worked out. See? Didn't notice, did he?
Nah, but you rip another jacket, you're on your own.
Not time for more of your problems here. A letter from Mrs. Johnson of Bedford, who writes, Dear Rory, my husband is sex mad. In fact, I never get time to do anything else. No sooner do I sit down to do something than he creeps up behind me and... The letter seems to stop there. A letter here from a Mr. Dawson of Kilburn, who writes, Dear Rory, I am Chief Constable in the Metropolitan Police. I am also the father of the 13-year-old girl who you... Here's another very interesting letter as well. This one... Dear Rory, lots of total strangers are always coming up to me in the street and telling me things. Yours, Sid. And finally, a rather sad letter here. Dear Rory, please help me. I'm Gary Wilmot. Well, I'm sorry, Gary, there's nothing that can be done, I'm afraid. You're just going to have to contact Exit.
Tonight, we're looking at the controversy surrounding organ transplants. And with me, I have one of the country's leading transplant surgeons, Dr. Timothy Spence.
Good evening.
Hello, Doctor. Now, Doctor, could you answer some of the criticisms that organ transplanting is an irresponsible waste of medical facilities and resources?
Well, Julia, we prefer to let our achievements speak for us, and I brought one along with me tonight. In this container is a working sheep's heart, powered entirely and kept alive by chemical and electrical means.
Well, that is remarkable. And presumably such a development has many practical applications, has it, Doctor?
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, I mean, broadly speaking, in layman's terms, perhaps you could give us some idea what those are.
Well, certainly, we believe that a system such as this has great potential as an executive toy.
You mean...
On an executive's desk, yes. Obviously, it would be pretty expensive, and you need quite a big desk to keep it on, so we think we're looking to the senior executive market, but we believe we're onto a winner.
So it's just for rich executives to look at, is it?
Oh, no, by no means. They can pick it up and turn it upside down. As you can see, it's full of artificial snow, and we think it's quite pretty.
Yes, it looks just like a real sheep's heart in a snowstorm.
Thank you very much, thank you.
It's very nice. But does it have any medical applications at all?
No, I shouldn't think so, no. It would scare the patient stiff if they woke up and found one of these on their bedside cabinet, wouldn't it? No, I think we should stick with the senior executive marketing.
But it's not the only thing you're working on, is it, Doctor?
No, by no means. We've done a lot of research lately into the potential of pigs' organs as well.
What sort of research?
Well, last month I successfully removed a pig's lung and I put it into my next-door neighbour's letterbox.
Why?
She deserved it. She kept complaining about my stereo.
Yes,
She never let me...
but Doctor,
Sugar.
are you doing any research at all that can in any way be useful to mankind?
We most certainly are. Last week, I took a tiny sliver of monkey's brain and attached it to a duck's foot, and it worked. The foot actually moved.
But what possible use could something like that be?
Well, we're hoping that one day it'll play for Chelsea.
Hello.
We're the most advanced of mammals, we're warm-blooded and it's true that in some respects we are a lot like you.
We have brains as big as yours, we've got language too.
And yet...
There's one crucial difference that we should not forget. Humans are stupid, humans are stupid, the most stupid creature in the world by far.
It's a scientific fact that man is thicker than the wombat.
Only humans read the Daily Star. They work 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and then drop dead from stress.
Basically, humanity
just one hell of a mess.
Things like
bloody traffic,
at least 60 times an hour.
the most stupid of their species, they'll vote them into power.
Humans are stupid, dogs very stupid. They're dull and dim.
Some of them are Swiss.
They've always got their face full.
They make hippos look quite graceful. Have you ever seen a human manage this? Now you never hear a dolphin say,
Tits like melons.
Have a nice day.
and a dolphin wouldn't be so dim.
To pay good money just to watch us swim.
Or walk on heels that deform the hips, or let pot noodles pass our lips.
Dolphins don't drink anything that turn you into an embarrassing brat.
I can't look. We don't throw up through the night.
Basically, we're far too bright. Woo!
Yeah!
No, 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 no.
But humans are morons, the most moronic morons. They like to fill their lungs right up with tar.
They find Joan Collins pretty.
Think Giles Brandreth's witty. That's how stupid humans really are. They can't survive forever. They make dinosaurs look clever. Their mass extinction can't be very far. Look, there they go.
Take a laugh up.
We want to know who your controller is. We want to know if your unit is still active. Which of our people are your contacts? What operations are planned?
Of course, you're a brave man. You'll resist. You'll do it first.
You'll hate us. Hate us. And then, by the end, you'll love us. When we stop, you'll love us, and then you'll confess.
You'll want to confess. You will tell us everything. Contacts, codes, everything. You will tell us absolutely everything.
Very well. Let's begin.
I'm a spy.
What?
I'm a spy. Yes, I'm a spy. I'm a jolly old spy.
You don't understand, you see. You will resist. And then after, when we've turned you into a broken, gibbering wreck, then you will confess again.
Oh, and my contact is Leonid Grigorovich.
Hang on.
We are active, and my safe house is at 14... What's the matter?
We haven't started yet. We haven't used our new kit.
We've been waiting months to use this.
See, it does nipples and testicles at the same time.
Won all sorts of awards.
Oh, it's all right, because I'll tell you everything. You want to know the name of my contact MI6?
No, not listening.
Shut up! Look at all this gear. How much do you think that cost? It's not there for fun, you know.
You know, people make this stuff, you know. Working people, decent people with families. Do you want to put them out of a job?
Well, no, I don't actually.
Well, and if you don't care about them, how about us?
Exactly. Robert was up half the night getting that ready. Weren't you, Bob?
Well, you helped.
Only a bit. It was mainly you, actually.
Well, yes, but you were going to give me first go.
Of course. I was going to give Bob first go.
Well, I'm sorry. It's just that I know I couldn't stand torture.
Well, how do you know until you tried? You might be quite good at it. You might have that certain knack.
Yes. Like windsurfing.
Right. You've got to give it a fat crack of the whip, eh?
Look, I tell you what. We'll ask you something else, okay? And then you try and hang on as long as you possibly can.
Right?
I'll try.
Okay. Just for us? Yeah. Okay, right. Right. What's your cell leader's code name?
Ulysses!
You're not even trying! going to have to ask him something he couldn't possibly know.
What is my wife's middle name?
Well, how the hell can I put...
Right, here we go.
So, you won't talk, eh?
Carol?
You dirty bugger!